ребята, послушайте, не рикайте, не робите не там. Видите, что творкой его, что ли. Те собрали, хотела. Далеко остановили, мани.
Tegul važiuoja, taigi doorstepas, neribot. Klaida, tegul važiuoja, nesgi yra doorstepas dar. Tai nieko tokio čia, jeigu ministrai biški. Nieko tokio. way without us. You will be sure. И тогда пересечись, рассчитывайтесь.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here for this very important meeting in preparation of the summit in The Hague. I'm also very glad that President Zelensky will be joining us, and we really need to step up our support for Ukraine now. And we need to continue to weaken Russia. And I hear a lot of beautiful words from colleagues around saying that Ukrainians fight not only for their freedom, but also for ours. And it's time to also live up to those beautiful words. And we need to continue to strengthen NATO, and not least the European part of NATO, and therefore Sweden supports the proposal by the Secretary General Rutте for increased target for military spending, and Sweden will definitely do our part. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I don't think I have a Norwegian meeting here.
So then we're going this way.
Yeah.
So Mr. Prime Minister, this way.
Morning. So once again, a very important meeting. Moving forward to the Hague summit in a few weeks from now, the most important thing is, of course, to rearm Europe. Russia is a threat to all of us, and therefore we need to strengthen our eastern flank. We need to help Ukraine as much as possible. And what we see now is Putin and Russia talking about peace during daytime, and at night they're still bumping in Kiev. So, of course, we have to push for a ceasefire still, but at the same time, we have to do what is needed on the battlefield in Ukraine so they can actually win this war. So a lot of important things on the table today.
A comment on the Ukrainian attacks on Russia yesterday?
I don't have a lot to say about that. I think they are, I mean, they have the right to defend themselves, and sometimes it includes pushing back. So it seems that it has been successful.
We've just heard the Lithuanian president, others are saying as well, they are now ready to allocate 5% of BNP for defense. Is Denmark along?
Yeah, when I became Prime Minister, we were spending 1.3. Now we spend more than 3%, and it's not enough. So we will raise also our defense expenditures in the coming years. And I hope that we will agree in a few weeks from now in Hague that we have to spend at least 3.5 directly on military, and then 1.5 on resilience in a more broad and in a broader perspective. But the discussion we have now is, will it be reached before 2032? And asking me, that will be too late. Thank you.
Hello, good morning to all of you. I'm coming here from Iceland. Þorgerður Katrín Gunnarsdóttir is my name, Minister for Foreign Affairs from Iceland, and I'm really honored to be here in Vilnius, this beautiful city, representing Iceland and joining the other Nordic allies here to this important meeting held here in Vilnius. Any questions? Or at least from my point of view, it's really important that we show unity and steadfast, unwavering support to Ukraine. Bear in mind that Ukraine is the first line of defense of our collective security here in Europe. So it's very important that we show this unity and give this important signal out into the world. Any questions? Fine. Good luck to all of you.
Only a few words. I'm president of Slovakia. I have to say this meeting is very important because an important summit is ahead of us in Hague in a few days. And I have to say that I think also that in this critical moment, when we see the new geopolitics in the world, it is crucial that Europe will take more of its of a share of its own security within NATO, of course. So I fully support that we have to spend more, and we have to strengthen the European pillar within the NATO allies, and that's why Slovakia will support also the announced higher expenditures. That means 3.5 plus 1.5, and we have to speak about the speed and some flexibility, but in total Slovakia stands together with our allies. Thank you very much.
Good morning. It's good to be here today in this critical time. I think that today we have to send a clear message from here. As frontline countries, we understand the importance of deterrence and defense. And we understand that we have to strengthen our defense by the new pledge. And also, we need to send a clear message that we stand by Ukraine. We continue our strong support to Ukraine. And also strengthening the comprehensive security and reconstruction of Ukraine. I visited last week in Kyiv, and we announced with my colleague, Prime Minister Smihal, a coalition, shelter coalition, and I would like to invite all the friends of Ukraine to take part to this coalition. I'm looking forward to very good discussions today here. Thank you.
And we encourage also other countries to put more resources on defense. Because Estonia is next year going to allocate more than 5% already to our defense. And second is we should continue to support Ukraine, because peace, unfortunately, goes through a battlefield at this very moment. And we should also keep NATO door open to Ukraine for the future. Thank you.
For this very important summit before we meet at NATO summit in The Hague, and I think that we have actually three issues that are very important to discuss. We need to talk how we can achieve 5% defense spending as soon as possible, how we can convince other NATO allies. It's also number 2 topic about Ukraine, further support for Ukraine. But I think it is also very important that we speak about how we strengthen the security in the Baltic Sea, especially taking into account what is happening with our undersea infrastructure, what is happening also with some provocations in the sea. So I'm very much looking forward to a very productive meeting. I do hope also that as the group that consists now of Bucharest Nine and also Nordic countries, we are forming a very forceful voice both at NATO as well as in the European Union. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like just to express my gratitude for the meeting that we will have here in Vilnius, bringing together Bucharest 9 countries with all Nordic countries and Secretary General of NATO and President of Ukraine. I believe that this format is really appropriate to the situation in which we find ourselves. Our biggest concern will be how to fine-tune our messaging for the summit on deterrence and defense, defense spending, position on Russia, and continuation of our support to Ukraine. I believe our growing responsibility of Europe for security, not only in Ukraine, but generally in Europe, about gradual transition of responsibility from the United States to European countries. And I'm really grateful that we will have a short but very productive meeting. Thank you.
Can you comment about presidential elections in Poland?
Comment on?
Presidential election in Poland.
Well, I have congratulated the newly elected president, and I'm looking forward to having an opportunity to discuss with him our not only neighborly issues, but also approach to Russia, our approach to NATO. I believe that the trajectory of Poland vis-à-vis European institutions will see no change. Thank you.
very short, yes. I'm not keeping anyone waiting. Hello. So, good morning. It's good to be in Vilnius and to have this opportunity. As you all know, the NATO summit is coming up in about little over 3 weeks, very much focusing on defense spending and defense production. We know that the Russians are really reconstituting themselves at a rapid pace. Russians are really reconstituting themselves at a rapid pace. We know there is a Chinese build-up. We know that China, Russia, and North Korea are working together. And Russia being a long-term threat to NATO, it is really crucial that in The Hague, when it comes to spending, when it comes to industrial production, we take the necessary decisions. And of course, we will discuss Ukraine in The Hague, and also today making sure that Ukraine has what it needs to stay in the fight. To be able to bring this terrible Russian war of aggression against Ukraine to an end, which has been lasting, which has obviously, this is something we are discussing now amongst allies, so I'm not mentioning numbers now, but I can assure you this old 2% we agreed in 2014 is not nearly enough to reach all the capability targets we need to reach, to fill all the gaps we have in our defense system. We can defend ourselves now against Russia, but we can't in 3 to 5 to 7 years. We have seen yesterday the comments by the Chief of Defense of Germany, and clearly we have to stand ready. So it will be considerably more than the 2% we were used to. And we also have to acknowledge that next to the hard defense spending, there is the issue of all the defense-related spending, including military mobility, including are our societies ready, including building up the defense industrial base. So all of this will be addressed.
Mr. Secretary, can you comment on the presidential election in Poland?
Yes, of course, I followed the presidential elections. It seems there is now a result, an official result, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, I want to congratulate the winner. And I look very much forward to working together on all these issues and making sure that with Poland, NATO becomes even stronger than it is today.
Should Ukraine become part of NATO by 2030?
Well, you know that when it comes to Ukraine, in Washington, there was a clear commitment by all 32 allies that there is an irreversible path for Ukraine to come into NATO. Not with an end date, not understanding this as part of a peace settlement, but clearly as a longer-term commitment by all 32 allies. And we are building that bridge as we speak, with the command in Wiesbaden, with in Poland, JTEC, which is capturing all the lessons, and of course all the other cooperation ongoing between NATO countries and Ukraine. Thank you so much. And the 23 with the summit. As Prime Minister, and then the 24 as Prime Minister. No, as Prime Minister. In April, I had a visit to the first This is the Grand Bucharest. You can join us. I will start the meeting.
Dzień dobry Państwu. Szanowni Państwo, bardzo się cieszę z tego, że dzisiaj w Wilnie mamy spotkanie bukaresztańskiej dziewiątki, czyli państw NATO Europy Środkowej, ale można powiedzieć, że wzmocnione o nowe państwa członkowskie Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego i cieszę się, że będziemy dyskutowali o najważniejszych kwestiach związanych z bezpieczeństwem. To jest ważne, zwłaszcza przed zbliżającym się szczytem NATO w Hadze. Mamy taki zwyczaj już śmiało mogę powiedzieć od prawie 10 lat, że właśnie spotykamy się w tej formule i rozmawiamy przed szczytami Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego. Wierzę w to, że w Hadze podejmiemy bardzo ważną decyzję podwyższającą w krajach NATO wydatki na obronność ja proponowałem, żeby to było co najmniej 3% PKB krajów członkowskich, ale wiem, że propozycja jest znacznie bardziej ambitna, zgłaszana przez sekretarza generalnego NATO, przez Marka Rütte. 3,5%, aby to było po prostu na obronność i aby na rozwój przemysłowy i rozwój badań zmierzających w kierunku umacniania bezpieczeństwa i obronności było wydawane dodatkowe 1,5%, czyli w sumie prawie 5%. Jeżeli taka decyzja byłaby podjęta, byłbym z tego bardzo zadowolony. Polska w tej chwili wydaje, jak Państwo wiecie, 4,7% swojego PKB w tym roku na bezpieczeństwo i obronność po to, żeby wzmocnić właśnie potencjał odstraszania i po to, żebyśmy nie zostali zaatakowani jako państwo członkowskie Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego przez nikogo, ale także po to, abyśmy w razie czego mogli nieść wsparcie tym, którzy zostaliby zaatakowani. Ja mam nadzieję, że całe NATO będzie prowadziło w tym zakresie skuteczną politykę i w efekcie umocnimy w ten sposób nasze bezpieczeństwo. O tym na pewno będziemy dzisiaj rozmawiali. Będziemy też rozmawiali o wsparciu dla Ukrainy. Będziemy rozmawiali o wszystkich ważnych dla nas sprawach. Także wyrażam satysfakcję i też dziękuję naszemu gospodarzowi, prezydentowi Litwy, Gitanasowi Nausedzie za zwołanie tego spotkania i za gościnne przyjęcie nas tutaj w Wilnie.
Panie prezydencie, prosimy wynik wyborczy.
Proszę Państwa, no, jak Państwo pewnie wiecie, dzisiaj za pomocą Platformy X już to była ta najszybsza możliwość. Dzisiaj rano złożyłem przede wszystkim podziękowania dla moich rodaków, którzy wzięli udział w wyborach. Ja apelowałem o to, prosiłem, nawet jeszcze wczoraj też prosiłem, kiedy sam oddałem głos, żeby się jeszcze zmobilizować, jeszcze iść do tych wyborów, żeby zapewnić jak największą frekwencję. Tak, frekwencja rzeczywiście bardzo wysoka, za co ogromnie dziękuję. Dziękuję wszystkim za oddanie głosu na swojego kandydata. To było bardzo ważne. Na każdego z kandydatów zostało oddanych ponad 10 milionów głosów. Bardzo za to dziękuję. 370 000 przewagi, jakie uzyskał według oficjalnych danych dr Karol Nawrocki, jak ogłosiła Państwowa Komisja Wyborcza, no dało mu to zwycięstwo. To jest bardzo istotna przewaga, to jest duże polskie miasto. Przewagi, można powiedzieć, w tych wyborach, więc to zwycięstwo jest bezdyskusyjnie jednoznaczne. Gratulowałem też i za pomocą Platformy X Karolowi Nawrockiemu. Ja mogę powiedzieć tak, cieszę się z tego, bo dla mnie to jest też, kiedy rozmawiamy tutaj w Wilnie, tuż przed szczytem bukaresztańskiej dziewiątki, a więc tak jak mówiłem przed momentem, tej środkowoeuropejskiej części Sojuszu Północnoatlantyckiego, to wsparcie Polaków dla Karola Nawrockiego, który zapowiadał i cały czas mówił, że będzie kontynuował de facto tą politykę, którą ja przejąłem od prezydenta Lecha Kaczyńskiego i realizowałem przez wszystkie te lata. Że to jest ta polityka, która Polakom odpowiada, że budowanie ścisłych relacji Polski ze Stanami Zjednoczonymi, na tym opieranie naszego bezpieczeństwa, a także na umacnianiu naszego bezpieczeństwa poprzez właśnie wzmacnianie polskiej armii, poprzez wydatki na obronność, poprzez w ten sposób budowanie siły naszego państwa we wszystkich jego regionach, poprzez równy rozwój Polski, że to jest ten kierunek, który Polacy wybrali we wczorajszym głosowaniu. Dziękuję za to ogromnie i bardzo się z tego cieszę. Wierzę w to, że ta dobra polityka będzie kontynuowana, właśnie budowania sojuszy, właśnie też rozwijania relacji tutaj w naszej części Europy poprzez udział w inicjatywie Trójmorza polskiego nowego prezydenta, poprzez udział w posiedzeniach bukaresztańskiej dziewiątki nowego polskiego prezydenta, poprzez umacnianie tych relacji międzynarodowych i kontynuowanie tych wszystkich więzi, które udało się przez te ostatnie 10 lat stworzyć, także dzięki mojemu działaniu. Mam nadzieję, że tak będzie i widzę, że za tym właśnie opowiedzieli się Polacy, co mnie osobiście bardzo cieszy. Jest dla mnie z jednej strony powodem do satysfakcji, ale z drugiej strony też, jakby mogę powiedzieć tak, wlewa w moje serce spokój, bo jestem przekonany, że to był dobry kierunek polityki przez ostatnie lata, że to właśnie umacniało bezpieczeństwo Polski, umacniało naszą pozycję w strukturach europejskich i światowych, jeśli chodzi o bezpieczeństwo, ale nie tylko, także jeżeli chodzi o rozwój infrastruktury. I jeżeli taka polityka będzie kontynuowana, to mogę powiedzieć tak, to będę patrzył na to ze spokojem.
Zadzwoni pan z gratulacjami. Jak wyobraża pan najważniejsze konsultacje z rządem? Jak sobie pan wyobraża?
Szanowni Państwo, mam nadzieję, że będę miał sposobność jutro wieczorem spotkać się z prezydentem elektem, z Karolem Nawrockim, zaraz po moim powrocie z Wilna, niezwłocznie po posiedzeniu B9, po spotkaniach z prezydentem Gitanasem Nausedą, które będą miały miejsce jutro już w formule bilateralnej Polska-Litwa. Wracam do Warszawy jutro wieczorem i mam nadzieję, że od razu, zaraz później będę miał sposobność spotkania się z Karolem Nawrockim. Także nie tylko gratulacje te za pośrednictwem internetu czy telefonu, ale także i te bezpośrednie, mam nadzieję, także będę mógł jutro złożyć.
A współpraca z rządem? Współpraca z rządem.
I hope so. I hope so, and I can assure you that I will talk with him about it, and I will suggest to strengthen these relations.
A jak pan sobie wyobraża kohabitację z rządem, współpracę z rządem przyszłego prezydenta?
No to już oczywiście będą decyzje przyszłego prezydenta, ale to także będą decyzje rządu, czy rząd będzie chciał dobrze współpracować z prezydentem. Mam nadzieję, że dla premiera Tuska i rządu to także jest jednoznaczny sygnał ze strony Polaków, że oczekują takiej polityki jednak mimo wszystko w swojej większości, jaką proponuje prezydent elekt, jaką zaproponował i głosił w czasie kampanii wyborczej Karol Nawrocki. Dziękuję bardzo.
Morning, everybody. Thanks so much. First of all, I'm very thankful to friend of Ukraine, my friend Gitanas Nauseda, for invitation, and I think it will be very necessary to meet with other partners to discuss very important issues for Ukraine, for Europe, security guarantees for Ukraine. and we will discuss also coalition willings. And I hope that we are very close to important decisions and also urgent things which are very important, necessary for Ukrainian people. It's air defense, Patriots and other systems. It's very important. Now, in parallel in Istanbul, there is our team. I had conversation with my Minister of Defense in the early morning. So they are preparing for a meeting. I'm not sure that Russians will be ready for some productive meetings, but we always have to count on some decisions. For us, very important is ceasefire, unconditional, of course, ceasefire, and humanitarian issues as to bring back adopted children, and of course, exchange of warriors, and to do everything for other prisoners, civilian prisoners, and journalists, political prisoners. So it's very important to get them all home. That's the most important things, and of course financing of interior Ukrainian production, which is very important for us. I think yesterday everybody saw the operation. One of the operation, yes, we have to really to demonstrate that every country is ready to defend sovereignty and territorial integrity, and Ukraine is, I think, a very strong example for everybody, and that's why we need support of our European partners and American partners, because now to strengthen Ukraine is meant to strengthen the front line of Europe. This is a momentum that I think so. Thank you so much.
Mr. President, can you comment on presidential election in Poland? Can you comment?
My congratulations to the president, new president of Poland, and I already congratulated by messaging. But I think that I hope that in the closest time we will have opportunity to speak. And Poland is our big friend and strong neighbor, and we respect the voting and of course voting of Polish people, and my congratulations to the new president and to all the Polish people. Thank you so much.
After recent attack on Russian aviation, what do you do?
You will see everything.
Mr. President, about Romanian election.
Romania, yeah, we will have meeting, I think today we will have meeting with the president of Romania. Yes, and it's an opportunity to discuss our bilateral issues, not only Europeans are very important, but also our bilateral issues. And I will also already invited the president of Romania, invited to visit Ukraine. I think he will share with you. We will discuss a lot of things. I don't want, to go further to this agenda. Thank you so much. Romania is very important. Thank you so much.
After recent attack, do you have more cards in your hands now?
probably can't do both because Prямо is now.
Я же не смогу сидеть так долго.
For us, it's very important not to move away from it.
Dear colleagues, dear guests, and most importantly, dear friends. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the Vильнюс summit of the Bucharest Nine and Nordic countries. Today we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the Bucharest Nine format. I would like to use this opportunity to congratulate and express my gratitude to the Presidents of Romania and Poland, the two founding countries of this initiative. I would also like to extend the special congratulations to the newly elected President of Romania, Nicu Șordan, who has joined us today only, as you said, 1 week after your inauguration. Welcome. Over time, we have seen the Bucharest Nine became an essential link that brings the region countries closer together. Today's meeting, with participation of our Nordic allies and Ukraine, reflects the growing pressure on NATO's eastern flank and our response to it. Our response is to widen and deepen the cooperation on security and defense from far north and to the Baltic Sea and to the Black Sea. Given the full complexity of the present situation, I am particularly glad to welcome here in Vильnюs the NATO Secretary General Mark Rютте and the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. Dear Mark, I commend your dedicated efforts to coordinate the Alliance's response to our common threats along the lines set in Madrid, Vilnius, and Washington. The upcoming NATO summit in The Hague will be an opportunity to make further decisions on building a stronger alliance, better prepared to defend every inch of allies' territory. I wish you the greatest success in the coming weeks, although I know they will be not easy. Dear Volodymyr, I admire your fearless resistance over the past 3 years. By defending Ukraine and its people, you are defending us and our security of the whole Europe as well. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to give the floor to the Secretary General, Mark Rютте. Please, Mark, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Gitanas, President Nausėda, and it's great to be back in Vilnius. And thank you for hosting the summit together with the Nordic countries. Indeed, since 2015, this group has been a driving force for greater cooperation and stronger defenses on the eastern flank. I'm delighted that the Bucharest Nine is growing to include the Nordic Five, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway and Sweden. And honored as always to be joined by our good friend Volodymyr Zelensky. Good that you are here. With Finland and Sweden's membership, NATO's eastern flank is longer than ever. And thanks to the contributions of all NATO allies, it is also stronger than ever. Demonstrating our unity and resolve, we have enhanced NATO's presence on land, at sea and in the air. We are increasing the number of forward land forces into 9 now, 9 allied nations, because also Finland will now be included, which is very good news. And we have stepped up NATO's presence, including through Baltic Sentry and Southern Shield. And I think this we all know, this matters more than ever, given the very real threat from a rapidly rearming Russia, which allies in this region know all too well. Our discussions today come at a crucial time. Later this week, indeed, NATO defense ministers will first meet in Brussels to agree ambitious new capability targets linked directly to our defense plans. These targets set out what forces and capabilities every ally needs to provide to keep our deterrence and defense strong and our 1 billion people safe. To do that, it is clear that allies need to spend much more than we are doing now. And that is why ramping up defense spending and production will be at the top of our agenda for the summit in The Hague, which will take place in just over 3 weeks. When we look at the key messages, I think it is this: spending more and producing more. So NATO needs allies to zero in now and deliver on the elements that increase our warfighting readiness so that we can better deter and defend. And I'm grateful to allies in this region for leading the way. There's no security without strong defenses, and there will be no lasting security without a stable Ukraine. So we continue to support efforts to bring this brutal war to an end and help Ukraine defend itself today and deter aggression in the future. And this will be on the table also this week when we meet with the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, chaired by Germany and the United Kingdom on Wednesday. So, dear friends, a lot to do to prepare for a successful summit. I'm confident that with your support, we will make NATO a stronger, fairer and more lethal alliance to keep us safe for decades to come. So thank you again for your hospitality, and I look forward to our discussions.
Thank you, Mark. And now I would like to address President Zelensky. Volodymyr, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Dear Gitan, thank you first of all for invitation. Thank you for support. This is a special moment. On the one hand, Russia has launched its summer offensive, but on the other hand, they are being forced to engage in diplomacy. And this is both a challenge and a real opportunity for us all, a chance to try to end this war. First, as before, our top priority is supporting our defense, and I'm grateful for all the support packages and for every investment in weapons production in Ukraine and for the development of production in your countries as well. Europe, together with America, has better weapons than Russia. We also have stronger tactical solutions. Our Operation Spiderweb yesterday proved that. Russia must feel what its losses mean. That is what will push it toward diplomacy. And when Russia takes losses in this war, it's obvious to everyone that Ukraine is the one holding the line, not just for itself, but for all of Europe. Ask your intelligence, what is Russia planning this summer in Belarus? If they are bold enough to prepare attacks from there, then we need more strength together. And right now, that means strengthening Ukraine so we can stop this war and prevent it from spreading. That's why weapons production matters. Ukraine can cover up to 40% of its weapons need with domestic production, but this requires stable funding. Our operations show how much impact investments, especially in drones, can have. And we still urgently need air defense, especially Patriot systems and missiles for them. Each of you knows what we need and what you can do to help. Decisions are needed. Second, we must do everything to make sure diplomacy is not empty. Our delegation is now in Istanbul and we are ready to take the necessary steps for peace. Naturally, the starting point should be a ceasefire and humanitarian actions, the release of prisoners and the return of abducted children. And all key issues can be resolved at the level of leaders. And if Russia undermines even this initial agenda, and if the Istanbul meeting brings nothing, that clearly means strong new sanctions are urgently needed from the EU's 18th package and from the United States, specifically the strongest sanctions President Trump promised. Sanctions should hit Russian energy, especially oil and tankers, price caps of course, and also Russian banks and the financial sector overall. Third, the United States. Thank you to everyone doing everything possible to keep the bond between Europe and America strong. We need the support of President Trump, the US Congress, and the American people. Whatever happens in global competition, it is our shared duty, Europe's, America's, and everyone who values freedom, to defend it together. We need as many points of connection as possible, including at the NATO summit this June. And one of the key principles of European security is that Russia must not have veto power over NATO decisions or influence over the alliance or its members. That principle must remain in place. Euro-Atlantic security is a business of Euro-Atlantic nations. Putin chose to stand against Europe, so he has no place in deciding its future. And that must not change. It's important to confirm at the NATO summit in June that the allies stays strong and that Europe will not give up its own security. And of course, I would also like to discuss the details of our work within the coalition of the willing and the security guarantees as well. We need to make this coalition strong, but we'll talk about that, I think, behind closed doors. Thank you so much again. Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. Thank you, dear Volodymyr, and I think we will have you in the second part of our conference. So now this is the time for us to move to the main summit agenda in the closed session. So I would kindly ask the media representatives to leave the room and come back for the press conference on the results of the summit later on. Thank you.